Welcome to SA News Weekly News Update. We'll cover the top stories from across the United States, important developments worldwide, and new insights from the world of health and science. A federal judge in Texas has temporarily blocked a new law requiring public schools to display posters of the Ten Commandments, ordering some districts to remove the displays while the case proceeds. The ruling reflects a swift legal response to concerns about church-state separation and student religious freedom, and marks a significant test case in the broader national debate over religion in public education. Multiple outlets report the injunction applies to certain districts, pending further litigation on whether the mandate violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. This case matters because it sits at the intersection of constitutional rights, local control of schools, and the role of faith in civic spaces. For communities, the immediate impact is practical. Schools must adjust classroom and hallway displays, but the stakes extend to how statewide policies can shape student experiences across diverse religious backgrounds. Legal observers note that federal courts have historically scrutinized efforts appearing to endorse specific religious doctrine in public schools, and this matter could set a precedent for similar measures elsewhere. If upheld, the law could become a model for other states. If struck down, it may reaffirm boundaries around religious expression in publicly funded institutions. Expanded federal immigration enforcement actions in North Carolina have triggered fear and uncertainty in several communities, with reports of detentions beyond border areas and growing concern among families about everyday activities. Coverage compiled in U.S. local outlets have documented incidents that escalated community anxiety, including highly visible apprehensions that have contributed to a climate of caution. Some districts experienced tens of thousands of absences on a single day, underscoring how enforcement can ripple through education systems and budget planning. Community advocates have urged clear messaging from authorities, emphasizing civil rights and legal resources, while municipal leaders weigh public safety against unintended harms when residents avoid hospitals, schools, and government buildings. The United Nations Security Council on Monday adopted a U.S.-drafted resolution, Resolution 2803, aimed at establishing a transitional governance structure in Gaza. Yet the move was immediately met with sharp criticism from China and Russia, both of whom abstained from the vote. The resolution, which garnered 13 votes in favor, officially endorses President Donald Trump's 20-point comprehensive plan for Gaza announced in September. Its primary components include the establishment of a Board of Peace, BOP, as a transitional administration, and the authorization of a temporary International Stabilization Force, ISF, to be deployed under a unified command. The ISF is tasked with securing border areas, protecting civilians, and, crucially, stabilizing the security environment in Gaza by ensuring the process of demilitarizing the Gaza Strip. The BOP and ISF are authorized to operate until December 31, 2027. The split vote and swift condemnation from key global players highlight the deep divisions within the international community over the future governance and security architecture of the Gaza Strip, setting the stage for continued diplomatic friction regarding the implementation of the U.S. plan. A high-level United States military delegation, led by Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll and accompanied by the Army's top officer, General Randy George, arrived in Kyiv this week for a dual-purpose mission: to conduct a military fact-finding tour and to officially push the Trump administration's efforts to end the war with Russia. During the visit, Secretary Driscoll met with President Volodymyr Zelensky and other senior Ukrainian officials to discuss a potential peace process. On Thursday, November 20th, President Zelensky's office confirmed that the head of state officially received from the American side a draft plan intended to reinvigorate diplomacy and bring an end to the war. The visit by a military service secretary for such a high-stakes diplomatic overture is highly unusual, signaling the administration's commitment to brokering a deal. Driscoll has previously lauded Ukraine's use of drones and AI technology as an incredible treasure trove of information for future warfare. Ukrainian officials showed the delegation their developments in defense innovation, emphasizing the reciprocal benefits of continued cooperation under the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List, PURL, initiative, which focuses on procuring key U.S. weapons systems, particularly air defense. NASA and European partners launched the Sentinel-6B ocean monitoring satellite aboard a Falcon 9, expanding the world's most precise long-term record of global sea level and ocean dynamics. Roundups in Google's science coverage and space industry reports note the mission builds on the JASON and Sentinel-6. Michael Freilich datasets, delivering millimeter-scale sea level measurements and vital information about currents, heat content, and El Niño, La Niña patterns. The satellite's data will feed climate models and policy planning, offering high-resolution insights into how warming oceans and melting land ice are reshaping coastlines worldwide. Sea level rise is one of the most consequential, measurable signals of climate change, affecting hundreds of millions of people in coastal cities and low-lying regions. High-precision altimetry enables better flood risk mapping, infrastructure planning, and insurance modeling, decisions that hinge on the difference between incremental changes and acceleration. By integrating Sentinel-6B observations with other Earth systems data, governments can refine adaptation strategies, seawalls, wetland restoration, and managed retreat, while scientists test hypotheses about ocean circulation and energy uptake that influence extreme weather. The spiritual and social movement led by Jagatguru Tattvadarshi Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj made headlines this week for its extensive disaster response and ongoing social reform activities across Haryana. Following recent devastating floods, the organization's Annapurna mission provided immediate and significant relief to farmers and affected villagers in regions including Bhatal Jatan, Hisar, and Bagdu, Sonipat. Local leadership highly praised these efforts, with village representatives publicly stating that the relief work gave the affected farmers a new life, calling the spiritual leader a real messiah and the real crisis solver for the community. This swift and impactful aid highlights the organization's focus on practical, humanitarian service alongside its spiritual teachings, providing hope in areas where government or other aid agencies have struggled to meet the immediate need. This flood relief work comes on the heels of major recognition for his broader social impact. Just weeks prior, Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj was awarded the Farmer Protector Honor by the Kap Panchayats of 45 villages in Guhana, Hisar, on November 10, 2025, acknowledging his role as a champion for the agricultural community. Furthermore, he was previously honored with the Protector of Humanity in Rohtak. These honors underscore the movement's success as a great social reformer, actively working to eradicate societal evils such as dowry, corruption, and drug addiction through the implementation of true spiritual knowledge derived from all holy scriptures. His devotees assert that these widespread social reforms, alongside the focus on ultimate salvation, Satlok, are bringing about a spiritual revolution worldwide. And that wraps up this week's bulletin. Thank you for joining SA News, and we'll see you next week. Truth that you want to know.